Welcome back, friends, to a long anticipated video. I feel like I have been waiting the entire year to film this. I love watching reading journal flip through videos, and I was inspired to start my own reading journal based on watching other people's videos. Today, I'm going to flip through every single spread that I made in 2024. Firstly, I guess let's just talk about this journal. I got this from Notebook Therapy. I do think I actually have another reading journal flip through way back in the older part of my YouTube channel. So if you want to watch what I think is maybe my 2022 flip through, you can find that. I will link that here in the candlelight. Let's just get started, shall we? We're gonna have to change the angle actually. All right, and I also think I forgot to mention this is, I believe it's called the Moonflower notebook. It's a little bit beat up. You know, this candle's making me nervous. We're just gonna move it way over there. So here is my 2024 title page. This is from a Winnie the Pooh sticker sheet that you'll see later. And I tried out this spiderweb hot pink border sort of thing. I actually really like how this came out, and the font is kind of gothic and cute. And then I have an index that I didn't really keep up with. I'll just like ignore that this is here and then randomly want to journal something and go and fill back in several spreads that I've missed. So I am actually pretty up to date. I've made a few spreads since then, but I might make a new index spread for my 2025 section, which will come later. Then we have my bookshelves spread. This was a bookshelf spread made for efficiency. There are no bells and whistles. It's literally just a bunch of rectangles to write down the spines of the books that I've read throughout the year. I did make a new bookshelf tracker, which will be in my January or my 2025 section later, but this was useful. It got the job done for 2024. I loved being able to go back and fill these out every time I finished a book. So I did have a color scheme down here, but I kept forgetting which markers I used for it. So things like the audiobooks are supposed to be blue, but I used several different shades of blue throughout it. Like I think this is supposed to be blue for audio. Yeah, it is, even though that looks pretty green. So I had physical own, physical borrow, as in like from a friend or family member, physical borrow from the library, ebooks that I own, which is weird. I only got one ebook, audiobooks, and ebooks that I borrowed. And it's cool to see these stats. So I did mostly listen to audiobooks, but I did read a lot of physical library books as well. There's quite a bit of like this peachy color throughout, which is cool to know. I did change my color scheme for this year's reading tracker. Now we have my books read spread. This is the same thing as this spread, but it's just in list format. I was really into doing these like lined pages at this time, which I still am. I just don't have this color marker anymore, but I might go find something similar because I think they look really cute and simple and clean. And I did use some stamps for this title page. I have since gotten rid of those stamps, but I wish I had kept them. And I was writing the book titles and the author names at first, and I guess I just forgot and I stopped writing the author names after a while. Then we have my first monthly spread of 2024. Here's January's. It was pretty simple. I just did a border with those same Winnie the Pooh stickers that I had and used that same like sparkly gold marker for the January title, which you can kind of see the reflection. And I just kept track of the things that I read very lightly. I have, oh, be careful. There are spoilers in this section. If you haven't read We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson, I would suggest you don't read this. So yeah, these were just some of my thoughts about that book. I really liked this format of doing like little book reviews, and I want to bring this back for next year, or this year now. And here is something similar for Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I didn't have a ton of thoughts about this book, but I was just really into journaling at the time, so I just wrote down some of my favorite quotes from it. I do really like how the spread looks. I like that the colors are kind of like coordinating with the colors in the cover. And this was a lost effort. I tried to keep track of all the library books that I was buying, but I just get buying the library books that I was borrowing. I just borrow so many library books that it's just impossible for me to keep track of it in this way. I sometimes will borrow this amount of books in one trip now, so it's just no use to track them. And I was filling out these boxes when I would read them. So what did I read? I read Brutes from my library copy, and I read Yellowface. Very cool. Then we have February's stats. This format of tracking has followed me like the plague. No, not like the plague. Followed me like a cute puppy or something. I've kept this format since trying this out in February. It'll be a reoccurring thing that you'll see throughout this journal. The entire thing, just the journal in general, is heavily inspired by Katie's reading. I love her journaling content, so she gives me a ton of inspiration. So if you recognize some fonts or borders, things like that, formats, then yeah, credit to her. But I do change things up and make it my own sort of thing. So I found these cute ducks in hat stickers on Etsy, and I was just so obsessed. Loved the like primary color scheme. Ended up separating all the things I read by tracking the rollover reads, so things I started in January if I finished them in February. Wow, that's actually insane that I started Tess of the D'Urbervilles in January. That was a rollover, and I just finished it last week. So January of this year. It took me like a year to read that book. I took like a 10-month break though. Read it in January and February and then stopped and then picked it back up in December. Things I was hopeful for because I'm afraid of the commitment of calling something a TBR. And then I was in the midst of selling a lot of books at this point, so I was writing those down. I've since sold 99% of my books, so I really don't have much at all. I don't track this anymore because I have nothing to sell. Things I finished and the things I started reading during the month of February. Yeah, I think this spread is really, really cute. Oh, my pride and joy. This is my Mayday Parade tribute spread. This has nothing to do with books. I sometimes will make spreads that are just things that are my interests, my obsessions at the time, and I'm a giant Mayday Parade fan. They're probably my favorite band ever, if not just like top 3. I went through a really heavy Mayday Parade phase in February and March. I've been listening to them since I was a teenager though, but it just kind of reignited at that time. So here are some of my favorite songs from some of their albums and just like quotes from those songs, and I used some stamps and colored them in. I just love how this came out. It's just special to me, and I got this idea for making these sections kind of look like they were playing on Spotify or something from some picture on Pinterest, but I just love how this came out because it really does look like, you know, like you're playing the song. And these are accurate timestamps, actually. The timestamp correlates to when the lyric is said in the song. So yeah, I paused the songs when these lyrics would start and made sure to get them as accurately as I could. If you haven't ever listened to Mayday Parade, I highly suggest them, and you should listen to any of these songs. These are fantastic. So next we have kind of a condensed version of these sort of spreads, how I wrote a bunch of thoughts here or all the quotes for the book lovers one. I found that I just didn't have a lot to say about a lot of these books. I think it happens more so with books that I give lower ratings. I just don't really know what to write about them. So I still wanted to give everything a little place. So I ended up trying this format out. I never did it again, but it was cool. I don't know if there's any spoilers here, so read with your own discretion. This was a good reading month. I think this was still January. Yeah. I read the Anthropocene Review, The Deal, Brutes. It was really, really good. I don't want to talk about this spread. This was just like an example of one of those my obsessions sort of spreads. I just put photos of things I was obsessed with during the month of, I think this was for March. these were things I was really into. So I have Pretty Little Liars, The Fallen Angel painting. This was mentioned, oh, it's February actually. This was mentioned in A Curious Beginning, which is a book I read in January, which I thought was just okay, 2 stars. But the mention of this painting was in there, and I looked it up and I fell in love with this man. And I had watched the Percy Jackson TV show this month and the movie Don't Look Up. And then I moved on from my Mayday Parade phase and I got super back into Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance. I am an emo kid at heart. It's not a phase. I'm never growing out of it. So these are some of my obsessions for the month of February. I guess I just never got back to filling this page out. Oh, my forgotten books. This is essentially the same thing as this page and this page. It is just a list of all the books that I've read in order, but this time it's their covers. So I stopped at Carmilla, which means I stopped right here and left out this many books. I think this looks really cool though, even though I didn't end up finishing it. But I think I'll go back and finish it up once I just find my glue stick. Ah, here's my March spread. I love this spread so much. I got these really cute hamster and bread stickers on Etsy, and I just love how this theme came out. Did the same sort of boxes with the hopefuls, current reads, bought and sold books, finished books. Didn't read a whole lot that month, and 2 of these were rereads, ACOTAR and The Mistake by Elle Kennedy, and this is when I read Red Rising, which is crazy because now that series is one of my favorite ever. And then I have this quote from John Green. This was from the Anthropocene Reviewed. "I'm not sure why I find it beautiful to devote oneself obsessively to the creation of something that doesn't matter, but I do." And this was him talking about artists. I just love this page. I think it's so pretty. And then my Spring Court ACOTAR tribute page. This was when I was rereading ACOTAR that month. And so I just went on Pinterest and found like a bunch of cute pictures, cool art about the series. I love this image of Tamlin's castle. So cool. And I really like that one a lot. That's also cool. It's like Feyre, Tamlin, and Lucien's eyes. I love this border. I want to do something like this again. This like rosebud border. This was really fun to make. I remember I made this while listening to the audiobook, sorry. I made this while listening to the audiobook while I was at the library, and I was just like printing things out and cutting them and coloring, and it was just the most fun day ever. I think I was at the library for like 5 hours just listening and doing this. It was so fun. And then to go along with my Spring Court tribute, I did a Under the Mountain tribute because, you know, spoilers here, so I'll just move on from that really quickly, but those 2 settings are just such different vibes in the books. Oh gosh, here we are. This was a period tracker that I didn't really keep up with really nicely. It would have been so cute if I like kept coloring it the way that I did this month, but oh god, let's just skip that. This shark's really cute though. And we can just skip this. This was, I was trying to track my homework for when I was taking a summer semester in college, but I never ended up really doing much with this. I guess I did write a few homework assignments down here, but... Oh, and so if this was made in the summer, yeah, so the last really concrete spread we've got is March. And then I know this was made in the summer because that's when I was taking these classes. So I took a break from March until like, I guess, May or June. And then I took a break from the summer up until October. I was not journaling at all. I think I had gotten rid of like all my journaling supplies on a like cleaning binge. I get in those moods sometimes, but I ended up repurchasing my markers and got back into journaling, and I've been into it ever since. So here we just tracked my TBR, books read, and then these are just some stats. Oh, this is the month I finally read The Idea of You. It was so good. That was my favorite book of the year. I loved The Idea of You by Robin Lee, and the movie's really good too. Then I have this chapter edits page. This is for the novel that I'm writing. I was just bouncing around and editing different chapters, so I colored in one of these circles every time I edited something, which I didn't end up editing very much. I started a new draft of a different novel, and I did actually edit more than this. I just stopped keeping up with this. And here's some more tracking of literally the same thing. It's just when I did finish a chapter, here like the stats of the word count that day, the chapters edited, how I was feeling. This was just like some more feelings while I was editing. And some cute little pumpkin stickers because it was October. Then we have November, and this is when I was back in action. As we can see, October was a start, but it wasn't as involved as some of my previous spreads had been because I had just got back into it. Even though I love how this turned out, I think the color scheme is really cute, but I was really back on my reading journal grind in November. So I got these stickers from Fifi Puffs on Instagram. I love her shop. It's so cute. Ugh, just look at it. Look at these moths. They're so adorable. I love the color scheme of this, and this is another spread I ended up making at the library. I think I have a reading journal, not reading journal, I have a reading vlog, which I can link right here again, where I made this spread. So if you're interested in watching me make this, then you can watch that video. And so same sort of thing, we're still in November, but the moth sticker sheet had like these pinky moths, and it also had these like brown and purple ones. So I separated to have a kind of tan and lavender theme here, and then keep just the pinks and a little bit of tan here. I was really into Gracie Abrams this month, so this is just lines, quotes from the song That's So True, if you read all of these. I remember I was showing this spread to my cousin, and she was like, wait a second, that's Gracie Abrams that you have written all over there. And I didn't know she liked Gracie too, so that was fun for us to discover that we both liked it. I also had these book stickers also from Fifi Puffs that I added in here because anything pink just kind of felt like it fit the vibe. And this was just a regular old calendar page. And I started posting regularly this month and thought that it would be helpful to keep it in here. Ooh, and then I read Golden Sun, which is the second book in the Red Rising trilogy, and I loved Golden Sun. As you can see, I made this little tribute page. It's kind of the same idea as my, where is she? My ACOTAR page, but just a little bit less involved, because you see I didn't do like all the background and the border stuff. I just kind of took some art from Pinterest and put things that I liked here. I just loved this book so much, so I wanted to make a little tribute spread. Now we're at not November. Now we are at December, and I think this one came out super cute as well. Also, stickers from Fifi Puffs. I got like 4 sticker sheets from her in one order because I wanted to pay shipping just once. So this is the last sticker sheet from her, but these are just like these Christmas toy sticker sheets and track the same things that I usually do. I love how this color scheme came out. Love the dots I did and like this December. Well, it's not a December font, but I like the fonts that I chose. I think it was really pretty. I love this color green and this color like burgundy, and I like how they look together a lot. And then I just did another December calendar sort of thing. The stickers don't go together so well, but that's just because I wanted to use up the last of all of my Fifi Puff stickers, so I just put them all here. Because I have a thing about not holding on to sticker sheets for too long. I just like to use them up and be done with it and move on to a different theme. So this was just a catch-all sort of sticker page. And then I skipped this spread. Why did I do that? I think I wanted to do some sort of wrap-up sort of thing here that I still haven't done, but I think I will. And then we get into our 2025 section. My bosses got me these really cool stickers that have transparent backs for Christmas. They got me like 5 or 6 packs of them, so you'll see a bunch of those throughout the next few spreads. But for this one, I went with this like jellyfish aquatic theme. Don't know how I feel about the yellow borders. I think I'm going to cover those up, but I still haven't done it as of right now. But I think this looks really cool. I love the transparent backs. I don't have any stickers anywhere else in this journal that look like this, so these are really cool. Now we have my new bookshelves for the year. I would say it is a significant step up from my previous bookshelves. These definitely worked. They got the job done, like I said, but this was really fun to make. And then I added some little trinkets on the different shelves. So I have like I think this is a D20 dice that you would use if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, because I read a book called Dungeons and Drama at the end of last year that I really liked. I have a little cute tea kettle, a little clock. I thought that fit the vibe. A mug and some flowers. And I put this little like garland sort of thing. I don't really know what it's supposed to be, but it's got little stars, little twinkly lights. And I love this little moon background with candles. And I decided for this bookshelf to make some of the books like facing out as if they were on display. So I'll put my favorite books that I read this year. If I love something, I'll give it like its own like display one. So I read Tess of the D'Urbervilles. Well, I finished it this year finally. So I was just so in awe and in love with that book. It just ruined me, wrecked me, put me together, took me apart, and it was just a life-changing experience, honestly, to read it. So that totally got its own little display book thing. I kind of wish I had made a few more books to go on display. I only made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, but you know, I suppose if I want more of them, I can just like cut out a piece of white paper and glue it on top. And I'm even considering, because this came out a little bit dark, so I feel like you can't really see it that well, I think I might just print out kind of something like this size of a book cover, and if I really like it, I can just do that, like paste the actual cover here. I might switch to doing that because I already don't really like how that ended up turning out. But I'm so excited to keep filling these up, and I can't wait to see what it looks like when I've finished filling them up at the end of the year. And then we're skipping this one. Why are we skipping this one? Oh, because it doesn't open properly. But I might still use it. Maybe, I don't know what I'll use it for. Then we have a couple of tracking pages. Again, those same transparent backing stickers. I just think they look so cool. So this one is a classics tracker. I figured it'd be kind of cute and quirky to incorporate little penguins in this spread, because penguin black spines are typically the editions that I use when I read classics. So, you know, penguins for the classic tracker. And I used all these like purpley blue flowers. I really love how this theme came out, and this one too. So this one's just nonfiction. Didn't really know what theme to do for that, so I thought these fruits were as good as any theme, you know. And they're just so gorgeous. They're so rich in color. And this is a quote that was originally in German from a history book that I'm reading right now. Love how these came out. I have read one classic, Tess, and I'm hoping to fill out one box for each side every single month this year. Then we have a series tracker. I don't know how much I'm actually going to stick to this. I don't have any goal to fill these up. Honestly, a lot of the series that I wrote in here, I don't know what I was thinking the night that I did this. I think I just wanted to do something. I just wanted to journal, but I really have no interest in continuing most of these series. I think the only one I really feel passionate about finishing is Red Rising, and maybe Off Campus. I've heard the last book is really not very good, so maybe. But the rest of them, I'm just kind of like, whatever. But, you know, it looks pretty cool, and I left space, so if I do find different series that I want to finish, maybe I'll put them in here. And then I made this little books I'm interested in reading spread, because I watch so many booktube videos and I'm always hearing really great recommendations, and I'm like, okay, I got to keep that in my mind. I want to pick that book up later. And in effort to stop just picking up random books at the library constantly every time I get a recommendation, I decided to make this spread, and when I get a rec, I'll just write it down here, and then when I finish a book, I can come here to this spread and decide what I want to read next, instead of just having a million library books at once at home at all times. Out of these, currently, I think I'm most excited about these top 3, actually the top 4. I want to switch these over to pen because I only had a pencil on me when I made this. Really cute. I like the colors that I picked for this a lot too. I think the stickers match with it really well. Sparkles just make everything better too. And now we are at the final spread, right? Yes, this is the last spread that I have. This is my January 2025 spread that I made just a few days ago. I did a little bit of like a butterfly wildlife sort of theme. I don't really know what to call it, but I used these kind of like pastel, bluey, peachy tones for January. This was just like a very casual, I didn't try super hard for this one because I honestly just didn't have it in me. I wanted to journal, but I didn't want to do something really involved, and I still think it came out pretty cute. So tracking the same things that I usually track. I implemented this favorite quotes box a couple of months ago, and I've been doing it for a little while, so I'm gonna keep that going. And I did a few little snowflakes because, you know, it's still winter. And that concludes the book journal tour. And we are done. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe got some inspiration for some new spreads or were inspired to just start a reading journal. I highly suggest it, or just any sort of journaling. Honestly, it's so much fun. I love doing this when I'm like watching TV or listening to audiobooks or music. It's just a really cool hobby to have. Let me know in the comments if you have a reading journal. If you do, what are your favorite types of spreads to make? For me, I think my little monthly tracking spreads are my favorite, but I do also love making a tribute spread because when I make one of those, it means that I'm super obsessed with the book and I'm having like the best time ever. So let me know. And if you don't book journal, let me know if you are considering starting one. All right, well, I'm gonna let you guys go. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.